All right, cool. So an AI compliance officer is a professional responsible for ensuring that organizations' artificial intelligence systems and processes and practices adhere to legal, regulatory, and ethical standards. All you need to know: compliance, oversight, risk management, governance, training, auditing and reporting, and knowledge of AI, understanding of data privacy laws is what typically you really need to know. Legal, regulatory, compliance experience, risk management, auditing skills, and strong communication skills. In short, you're a bridge between AI technology, ethical responsibility, which is kind of like legal jargon, and making sure that it's being deployed in the correct manner. Now, we already deploy systems ourselves, and through red team testing, and you can actually learn some of these terms if you go to docs and learn prompting, right? If you actually learn some of these techniques here, you'll be able to learn things like, I mean, a lot of these techniques are not something that every single one of you guys have to learn, but you should have somebody on your team that understands this because they do understand um, some of these kind of like systems, some of these machines, prompt hacking, then they'll be able to make your systems more effective to where it doesn't break. Because as you probably know if you're watching this video, AI or ChatGPT breaks about 20% of the time. And when you connect an API to the actual ChatGPT, some of those restrictions that are on it are no longer on it and it's taken off, which means that liability is kind of like in whose hands, right? So if I say, um, who is held liable if an AI agent or machine or machine violates a law or any ordinance, or I mean, I don't have to say ordinance, any a law or violates consumer rights. So here are examples, right? Some people have recruiting firms that want to use AI systems. Individuals who created or trained the AI could be held liable. The company or individuals who created or trained the AI could be held liable. If an AI system is inherently unsafe, flawed, or poorly designed, that's who's responsible. Companies that deploy AI systems for business operations can be held liable for the AI's actions, especially if they fail to supervise or monitor it. In some cases, the user of the AI system may bear responsibility if they instructed it to act in a way that violates laws or consumer rights. But many times, if it doesn't, and maybe they ask a question and it just gives the information, it just depends. So legal teams would often require AI audits and documentation to demonstrate due diligence in case of litigation. How much would an AI audit cost, and who would administer them? This is just basically, guys, using ChatGPT to learn. For smaller organizations or less complex AI systems, audits may range from $10,000 to $50,000. For larger enterprise, it can escalate to $100,000 to $500,000 or more. So I'm recording my screen too, but as you can see, guys, who administers AI audits? AI audits are typically conducted from external audit firms, internal audit teams, independent AI auditors, specialized professionals or consultancies with expertise in AI ethics, fairness, and compliance conduct independent audits can conduct independent audits. Additionally, certifications like the ISAC Advanced in AI Audit AAIA are available for professionals seeking to specialize in AI auditing. So let's go ahead and look up those certifications. Boom. So you have AI certifications. And we're pulling it up. So what we're actually doing, guys, so now that that video is over, the reason I'm saying all this, right, and putting all this information out here is because not only prompting is a valuable resource to learn how to prompt, right? And actually have prompt structure, prompt techniques, learn how to essentially maybe even break prompts to make the prompts better, or learning how to communicate with the AI to communicate properly to a client. All these things come together to be able to build out cool systems. The future is not only just deploying AI systems, it's augmentation, right? Utilizing the AI to make yourself smarter, make yourself think better, give yourself sharper cognitive ability. But it's also in the compliance field where there's a unique opportunity for you to find companies out there that may not be aware that they are or not compliant, and for you to have a risk assessment team. So that's something that we're building here at Noller. And I created a essentially, I created a coursework even for myself to go through in order to be able to offer those said services. Now, this coursework is not just a coursework that's going to be done in a day, and I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Okay, cool. Hold on one second. Turn off the voice. Go to Control Center in the menu bar, and go to Control Center in the menu bar, and then click Standard Audio. Standard Audio. Let me go here. Speakers, audio settings. Okay, allow. All right, guys. So I'm just trying to make sure everything can be heard. It was saying something about no isolated audio for whatever reason doesn't work as good. Um, anyways, hopefully you can still hear this video. But I kind of essentially built out my own AI compliance and prompt mastery accelerator. It's more of a broader kind of framework, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through 22 weeks of coursework and posting it online, right? So we have some cool I mean, and it's really built very, very, very robust, right? But this makes sure that with what I'm going to be doing, what some of you may be doing as well, is at a super, super, super high level. Like such a high level that when you say you go into a firm and say, hey, it's going to be, 50K in order to, make sure you guys are maintaining compliance, then you have an actual good reasoning to be able to do that. And what I was actually looking here is like in terms of who administers AI audits, what certification programs are out there, which there are some, who want to get additional certifications. But I'm going to have a program as well for you guys to be able to go through that's going to help you become some of the top guys out there in this space. How many AI auditors are out there? They're not going to have this answer are in the world right now. If you don't have the answer to this question, give me a brief or guesstimate, and how valuable is this skill in 2026 versus in the next 5 years? So what you do to me, I swear. Mm, Okay, so right now, obviously, like the numbers aren't even available, bro. The numbers aren't even available to how big the opportunity is, right? But let's actually take a look at it. Let's actually take a look at it, guys. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So you guys are doing research with me. The reason this research is important before we even talk about the coursework or go into the coursework and start the studying sessions is because this gives you an idea of the opportunity and it's going to kind of help you be more motivated. So, E&Y's AI workforce, KPMG's AI integration, nice. Wolters Kluwer survey. A survey by Wolters Kluwer found that 39% of internal auditors were already employing AI, with an additional 41% planning to adopt AI in the next 12 months, suggesting a rapid increase in AI adoption with the auditing profession. Very interesting. The demand for AI auditing skills is projected to increase significantly. Market growth. The global AI and audit market is expected to reach 11.7 billion. Surveys indicate a sharp increase in AI adoption among auditors, with the number of firms with no AI plans dropping nearly half. Given these trends, AI auditing skills are expected to be highly valuable in 2026 and continue to be in demand over the next 5 years. Yeah, so yes, give more resources. And the funny thing is, guys, there's some things out there, but you have to essentially learn it on your own. So we have an opportunity to create ourselves coursework and become experts on this while going out there and finding different ways to get the information. For example, if you say AI auditing certification and training programs, overview, the ISACA, Advanced in AI Audit, AAIA, the first advanced audit certificate. Cool, cool. A 2-day course. How much are these courses or certifications? So we are asking questions and we are learning new things, right? So this is something that I've actually built for myself that's going to be super, super cool. And not only does it have that, guys, but in this, it also has the next phase where we actually start our own AI compliance firm. And it gives us modules and exact things that we can do in order to be able to effectively deploy that into the market. So these programs are out here, 1250 or 2000, for a mentorship, certification here, certification there. Those things are they're cool. And they can help you. But the biggest thing is, guys, you need to actually be an expert in what you are actually doing. So we're gonna do it for free 99. We're gonna become experts at AI compliance, and we're gonna be so robust at it that when we go to a client to offer these services, it will be a no-brainer based on the wealth of information and knowledge that we have and based on the team that we build around our AI assurance and compliancy agency, right? So that's going to be super cool. That's coming in for the future, guys. The future of AI in terms of other sectors that are opening up for growth. I'm going to be posting content on this while building out uh, working LLMs as well. We already have some that are being deployed currently or being tested currently for clients. The biggest thing, guys, out there for you clients who also want AI systems and voices in your business is that we are ensuring that not only do we deploy these systems, but that we are experts on making sure they're compliant. Reason is because it's such a new area of space. We're asking the chat GPT, are there any current lawsuits that involve AI voice? Let's figure it out. What's the biggest case and settlement that was lost? So the biggest one, the most significant and highest profile legal settlement involving AI voice cloning to date is the $1.5 billion settlement reached between the AI company Anthropic and a group of authors and publishers. Approximately $3,000 for each infringed book. Total books covered around 500,000 books. Legal basis and settlement pertains to be the unauthorized acquisition and use of copyrighted works, not the AI training process itself, which was previously ruled as potentially fair use if the content was legally obtained. Additional terms, Anthropic is required to destroy the pirated files and that's coming to acquire training data through legal channels moving forward. This settlement is considered the largest copyright recovery in U.S. history and sets the precedent for holding AI companies accountable for the unauthorized use of copyright materials. So let me ask you a question. If an AI voice uses un or let's say uses copyrighted materials in its training, or deploys these techniques based on the non-paid information, does that qualify under the same terms? So I'm reading this here, and for companies using AI models for commercial use, I mean, hey, potential liability. So you know what I think we should do? AI training with copyrighted or paid only materials without licensing is risky. Commercial deployment amplifies risk because courts are more likely to find infringement when money is involved. Liability could fall on the developer, deployer, or operator, not the AI itself. The developer, the deployer, or the operator. And so it could be the deployer. So it's three different people. The person who developed it, to deploy or operate it. So tell me, what's the difference between those? What's the difference and between the developer, deployer, and operator and their responsibility for how it infringes on someone's copyrighted intellectual property? Responsibilities to the developer. Ensure the training data is legally sourced. Design the AI in a way that avoids reproducing copyrighted works directly. Implementing technical safeguards to prevent misuse or infringement. I know I'm just reading this out, but I want you guys just to follow me where we're going, right? The deployer, organization, or individual who launches or distributes the AI system for use, often in commercial context, ensuring that it complies with laws, monitoring and controlling how it is used by end users, implementing licensing, disclaimer, or usage restrictions to limit liability. If a company deploys an AI chatbot to consumers and the chatbot outputs text from copyrighted books without permission, the deployer can be held liable even if they didn't develop the AI. Interesting. The person or team who actually uses the AI system to perform tasks like running it, using it responsibly. If a marketing manager using the AI voice generator to replicate a singer's voice without consent, the operator may also bear liability for directing the AI to produce infringing outputs. So contracts, licensing, and usage policies should clearly assign responsibility and compliance measures for each role. If you want, I can also create a visual diagram. So these are the things, right? Developer, deployer, operator that are going to become very transparent in the future. This is where the future is going, guys. This is where the future is headed. So please explain the $1.5 billion settlement and how they infringe if they were not the ones who took information from the sellers of the books. Or did they? We don't know. So now we're actually doing research, right? So we're learning about the $1.5 billion settlement involving Anthropic. I keep messing up their name, bro. Stems from allegations that the company used pirated books to train its AI model Claude. The case is significant as it represents one of the largest copyright settlements in history. Da, 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 da. So Anthropic did not directly obtain books from sellers. Or you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call my voice magnet, bro. I'm gonna let my boy explain it. Sometimes I like to talk to the AI itself, bro, to just get there with learning it quickly. Hey, let's train in sales. No, I don't want to talk to the salesperson. I want to talk to the voice magnet.
Hello?
Yo, what's up, bro? Look, man, we're doing research. So, right now we're studying the company Anthropic, and they're a prominent AI company. They had the AI model Claude, and they got sued for 1.5 billion because of uh infringement on copyright. So, can we talk about what happened for them to actually uh get sued and lose that settlement? And can you give me kind of like a rundown of how they could have avoided it?
That's a heavy question. And it brings up a really important point about the intersection of AI and intellectual property. It sounds like you're diving deep into the challenges facing companies like Anthropic. While I can't give legal advice or specific details about ongoing cases, I can speak to the general landscape of copyright in the age of AI. The core issue often revolves around how AI models are trained and what data they ingest. If an AI is trained on copyrighted material without proper licensing or permission, and then that AI generates content that is substantially similar to the original, it can lead to claims of infringement. Think of it like this. Imagine an artist who learns by meticulously tracing thousands of copyrighted images. If that artist then creates a new piece that is nearly identical to one of those traced images, there's a clear case for copyright infringement. AI models, in a much more complex way, can sometimes do something similar when they learn from vast data sets that include copyrighted works. Avoiding these situations often comes down to a few key strategies. One, data curation and licensing. This is perhaps the most critical. Companies need to be incredibly diligent about the data they use for training. This means either using public domain materials, openly licensed data, or securing.
So how can a company know that, let's say, for example, they want an AI sales bot to use a certain sales framework in its process, and they tell it to do that. How would they know whether or not that the bot is utilizing copyrighted or non-copyrighted work if they're just telling the LLM to use a certain framework based on a certain person?
That's a fantastic and very practical question, highlighting a real challenge for businesses wanting to leverage AI. You're essentially asking, how do I ensure my AI sales bot isn't infringing on intellectual property when I direct it to use a specific sales framework associated with the person? Here's how a company can approach this and where the lines can get blurry. First, let's distinguish between a framework and the specific expression of that framework. The idea, concepts like solution selling, NEPQ, challenger sales, spin selling are often methodologies. The idea of these frameworks in themselves is generally not copyrightable. You can't copyright the idea of asking open-ended questions to uncover needs. For example, the specific expression, the copyrighted work. What is copyrightable is the unique way someone describes, explains, illustrates, or presents that framework in a book, course, video, or a specific set of scripts. This includes the exact wording, specific examples, unique acronyms, diagrams, and the overall structure of their proprietary training materials. So when you tell an LLM to use the NEPQ framework, for example, the risk comes in if the LLM then generates output that too closely mirrors the specific copyrighted expression of NEPQ as taught by its creator, rather than just applying the underlying non-copyrightable principles. Here's how a company can try to navigate this. One, focus on principles, not specifics. Good. Develop sales responses that focus on asking open-ended questions to uncover pain points, then pivot to how our solution addresses those specific pains, and finally, guide the prospect towards understanding the negative consequences of inaction. This describes the principles of many frameworks without using proprietary language.
What would be an example of proprietary language that would be classified as a potential violation?
That's a great follow-up question. Identifying proprietary language is key to understanding potential violations. Proprietary language in this context refers to specific words, phrases, acronyms, or unique combinations of terms that are strongly associated with a particular copyrighted framework or methodology. It's the unique branding or voice of that framework as expressed by its creator. Here are some examples using hypothetical sales frameworks to illustrate. One, unique acronyms or mnemonics. Framework creator coined an acronym like CRUSH, where each letter stands for a specific step. So think connect, relate, understand, solve, handle objections, implement, thank. Then using crush it directly in your AI's output or instructions could be problematic. The underlying idea of those steps
Got it.
but the specific acronym and its detailed explanation are. Two, distinctive phrases or slogans. If a sales guru always uses a phrase like the empathy echo to describe a specific listening technique, the value vortex to explain how to build perceived value, then having your AI use those exact phrases could be an issue.
So very interesting, guys. Like essentially, this gets really tricky because like the way that you prompt your machines, the way that you're prompting your machine is the thing that could potentially have liability. And many people will say, well, oh well, how would they know like the prompt? How would they know how I prompted? And it's like, dude, that's the point. That's the point, bro. That's the point. If you ever are audited, if there's ever a situation where they say there's anything that happens in your business, and they say, well, we need all the data in the files and we need all the prompts, they're gonna have to hand over that prompt that's in there. Once they see that, then it opens up an additional can of worms. So that's why I think compliance is the future, bro. Digital footprint and training data analysis. Researchers and planners can often analyze AI outputs to trace back the source of the training data. In Anthropic's case, some generated outputs contain text verbatim or highly similar to copyrighted books with alerted authors and publishers. Forensic experts can compare AI outputs to known copyrighted material to identify overlaps. Investigation of AI training pipelines. Investigators looked into how Anthropic acquired its data sets. They traced the AI's training sources back to publicly accessible repositories known for hosting pirated material like Library Genesis, LibGen, and Pirate Library, PIL, Pirate Library Mirror. The kind of data digital tracking can reveal download logs, server records, and known patterns of pirated content users. Whistleblowers. In many large AI companies, insiders or contractors may report suspicious practices regarding data sourcing. Um, Legal discovery. Once authors they alerted, key takeaways. Cool. So pretty much, man, all cylinders are off. These are actual ways that your bots, if they violate, can be found to have more violations, which can potentially cost your firm, your agency, your business, your baby, can cost you hundreds and thousands of millions of even, in this case, $1.5 billion, dollars, which is exactly why having someone who understands this as an agency who can troubleshoot and not only troubleshoot but battlefield test your prompt and your systems is important to know that you are above board as possible and at least have infrastructures in place to try to maintain compliance to not let these things happen because these things can happen accidentally because ChatGPT hallucinates as well. So let me ask this here. What if ChatGPT hallucinates and infringes on someone's rights? Let's say an agency gets an API key and builds on it and it does that. Who is liable? ChatGPT or AI hallucinations, meaning it generates information as false or replicates copyrighted material. Agency uses OpenAI API to build a product or service. Hallucinate output violates someone's copyright. Who is liable? AI developer open a role created maintenance AI models usually limits current laws because AI itself is a tool. OpenAI's terms of service often disclaim liability for user-generated outputs. Cool. So they have a disclaimer. They may bear some risk of the negligent trained or copyrighted materials without proper. They may bear some risk in the model is negligently trained. So here, uses the AI output for commercial product or service. Role, potential liability, high liability. So their liability, limited. The deployer liability, high liability. They're the ones deploying and distributing content to clients or the public. Courts would likely treat the agency as the party responsible for any infringement caused by AI generated content because they chose to use it and distribute it, especially they did not implement safeguards or review contents before use. Any user, employees, or contractors who prompt the AI or apply its outputs. Boom. Potential liability moderate. If they knowingly instruct the AI to produce infringement content, lower if they follow company policies and rely on agency review processes. So, do you have company policies? Do you have agency review processes in your agency in terms of deploying your own systems? Key legal principle: AI itself cannot currently be sued. Humans, corporations are accountable. Due diligence matters. Liability is mitigated if the agency implements content review, copyright checks, or disclaimers. Commercial use amplifies risk. Using AI output internally is lower risk. Publishing it externally adds reports, creative content, raises legal exposure. OpenAI's API terms typically shifts most liability to the user or agency, so agencies must be careful. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. So what if you want, I can make a diagram. Developer, limited liability unless negligent in training or licensing. Agency, developer, primary liability for infringements in commercial applications. Operation, secondary liability. So all these agencies that are, you guys are watching my video, or let's say you're a business and you want to deploy your own system, so you hire someone internally to do it, you are held liable. So making sure that you have all of the right things in place is going to be very important. But you're not going to know what things you need to have in place unless you have a grandiose understanding of how AI works, to be able to have the proper prompts, to be able to use the proper language to make sure you're not infringing on anyone's rights. And also, if you're posting content creatively through ads or creative images, you don't know that technically something you're creating, an image you're creating, could be infringing on an author or someone who is a creator out there, because at the end of the day, that's who is being protected. Number one are authors and creators and people who are humans who are building things, because they don't want just a machine to just take something, make something new, and that just completely destroys the market. So I go through some of this to say that that's exactly why a firm can charge something like, what is it? Where is it? Where is it? So what you do tonight? I put it in again. That's why you can charge these type of rates. Ensure they cover areas like data privacy, algorithm fairness, regulatory compliance. Boom, 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 boom. Who specializes in AI voice agencies in the compliance space as a compliance officer or team? Who are the experts? They gave me retail, but that's not home accent for. They do have audit, they have real time right here, off road based access. Okay, cool. Okay, so they gave me something, but they didn't give me the right thing I'm looking for. So outside of just selling the AI systems themselves, guys, um, being a part of the movement in terms of the compliance is going to be really huge as well. Virtual compliance support starting at $36,000. Come on, bro. So SkyTel can refer to a historical encryption device. Let's go back here. SkyTel can refer to a historical encryption device, a fictional character from the Dune series of modern compliance automation company. The ancient Greek SkyTel was a cryptographic tool using a cylinder to encrypt messages by wrapping a strip of parchment around it. The Dune character is a shape-shifting villain. The company SkyTel provides GRC governance, risk, and compliance software. That's pretty cool. I fuck with that. The tools, brother. Pen test, web app, black box. Pen test, web app, gray box. One framework, add-ons available. Everything is here, bro. Insane stuff, bro. This is why companies pay $50,000 for the year because they don't want to go through all this stuff. And get a demo. I bet you this is, you know what a black box is, guys? Let me watch this. Drag me through hell and never come. Pen testing, penetration test, web app. This means the test of targets of web applications, specifically internet runs in a browser serves over SQL injections, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, insecure API endpoints. Black box means the tester has no prior knowledge of the system. The test the application exactly like an external hacker would, relying only on publicly available information on application itself. White box tester has full access to source code. Gray box tester has partial knowledge. To meet compliance requirements, to reduce the risk of data breaches. Come on, bro. So the reason I bring all this together is because learning prompting, learning compliance, and bringing that all together is going to put you in a very, very, very specific place in the world of AI outside of just selling agency and selling the service itself, that you will be able to have an insane retainer fee to be able to go into companies and offer these type of services. So this is just a quick video on it. Today's date, it's October 19th, 2025. And just letting you know what we're doing, bro. So that's it for now. As you know, I'm building prompts and always studying more things as well to enhance my knowledge base and enhance the value that I bring to not only to the company but also to myself and to the market. Hopefully you guys learned something with this video as well.